Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to ZBTR TV.
The goal is to unearth and document the Zambian narrative in the best way possible.
Catch us live every Saturday on Facebook and YouTube.
We broadcast every Saturday at 10 a.m. EST, 7 a.m. PT.
With a growing audience across the globe, we connect Zambians and share resources abroad.
Be part of our journey. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
With a growing audience across the globe, we connect Zambians and share resources abroad.
The ZBTR TV show.
Did you know? Less than 10% of our viewers are subscribed. Don't miss out. Be part of the community. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Flow live.
Welcome to the show. Hey, it's 2026, everybody. Welcome to the show and Happy New Year, ZBTR family. We appreciate you joining us. By the way, this is year number 16. 16 years we've been doing this, and we are just so delighted, exhilarated about the time for us to be back on the show. Sorry, the Christmas show didn't work. We had a few technical issues with my guest, but here we are back. Welcome. Tag a friend. Tell them ZBTR is back in the new year. We have an exciting conversation for you. We're going to cause a lot of fireworks here today. We're starting with a bang. Welcome to ZBTR in 2026. All right, Zambia goes to the elections in, is it 7-8 months, August 13th. And there are a lot of things that are going on. You know, any country, when it's going into election year, a lot of things happen. And there's a lot of talking, a lot of political gimmicks, a lot of anything you can think of. So we decided to start off the year with what we are calling Citizens Forum. What this basically means is my guests are not political representatives or political whatever you may think or say. It's just simply that. They are citizens. They are going to give their views on thorny issues that are going on in Zambia as we go into this election in 2026, this August the 13th to be exact. And we're going to address a lot of issues pertaining to matters, governance, rule of law, Bill 7, non-burial of late President ECL, and we're going to go into all those matters. All right, so joining us from Zambia, they say ladies first, right?
Yes, thank
so
you
we're
very
going
much.
to introduce the lady first. Joining us from Zambia is Muzezi T. Not be happening. All right, I said Happy New Year to you.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Happy New Year. I think I lost the connection. Thank you very much for having me on the
Yes.
show.
What did you do for Christmas?
I rested and yeah, spent time with my family. That's what I did.
All right. Okay.
Yes. So thank you for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion, especially now that we as Zambia at a critical moment, just 7 months away from the general elections, and so much has been happening.
Exactly.
So I'm really excited to just share my insights on governance issues from
Excellent.
my perspective. Thank you.
We're looking forward to having you. Also joining us from the great state of South Africa is Dr. Emmanuel Nkhoma. Dr. Nkhoma is the director at the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. Dr. Nkhoma, good evening to you. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Reverend Kama, for just hosting us on your platform. And Happy New Year to everybody that is tuning in tonight. And those in the afternoon or in the morning, good morning. And I believe that's going to be a great year,
Yes.
2026.
Yes,
Thank you.
it is. It's going to be an I'm saying it's going to be an explosive year. Explosive year.
Yeah.
Also joining us from the great state of I almost said Texas. I almost said Texas.
I know.
I
Georgia.
know, right?
Yes,
It's
Georgia.
Kapale Daka, a dear friend and brother of mine. He's an entrepreneur and a businessman and a great citizen. That's what I will say. Kapale, welcome. I'm looking
Thank you,
forward
Pastor.
to having
Thank
you. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. Just spend it with family. Like in the United States, they still do Christmas like the way we used to do it when we were young in Zambia. Like there's that excitement. When I first moved here, I thought it was childish, right? But they do Christmas and the kids are excited. And when you go to the shopping malls, it's a festival. Yeah, so I do like that kind of atmosphere. Yeah.
Atmosphere. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of ground to cover. And thank you, everybody, for watching us. Let us know how we are coming. And I would also like to hear your thoughts, those that are watching or joining us. Or we've started on a new time. We moved it a little bit an hour later so that we could. I was basically thinking about our colleagues on the West Coast. Because when we started at 9 a.m. here, it used to be 7 in California, Oregon, and Washington State. So we thought we should change it a little bit, and we have a lot of ground to cover. And what I would like us to begin with is the issue of governance. That there's a lot of issues going on in Zambia. The president has been accused of a lot of things, and we are going to start from there, the rule of law. Okay, I'm going to play a video clip and then we are going to comment on that. Okay, let's listen to this.
Specific, yes, if say is a someone political. Not at all. Discriminating. The highlights is here. I'll show you the highlights here. Am I right? Is it fact here? Yes, it's here, you see it. One of them. The other one is parked. We're going to just drive it out. These are vehicles that were obtained from ZRA illegally, and then one of the vehicles is found with the same Mr. Archbishop Ali Band that you're talking about. She's a white one. Just his name. I want to be very categorical on this one. Please, we are not politicians. We are law enforcement officers. We operate at our own time, in our own space, because we have laws that govern our activities. It's that simple.
That's the director of the Drug Enforcement Commission is responding to here the media briefing to respond and to answer to the issue which has sparked a lot of fire and the political storm in the nation about the summoning of Archbishop Dr. Alec Banda of the Catholic Church to the Drug Enforcement Commission. Those that are watching also, let us know your views and your comments on this. As Bishop Banda being summoned to the Drug Enforcement Commission, in your view, let's start with the lady here. Is this a legitimate anti-corruption investigation, or does it risk being perceived as a witch hunt? Who says it?
Thank you. So I think I'll start by mentioning that the state absolutely has the right to investigate anyone, including His Grace Archbishop Alik Banda. No one should be above the law, right? So that is the fundamental principle of the rule of law. But the rule of law is not only about legality, it's also about public perception.
Okay.
And
oh, yes. I like that. I like that.
So Zambians, naturally, I'm sure you can see online there, the questions that are asking is whether this law is being applied consistently and fairly, right? So if you look at the timing of this investigation also matters. The church has been very vocal on a lot of governance issues, including the opposition of Bill 7, which now has become law. Now we see investigations alongside there's some sort of propaganda style blogs that have been allegedly linked to political interest group that appear and designed to discredit the Catholic Church. So in other words, we've seen all these blogs that are alleged to be run by the ruling party, and they have all these messages and blog articles that are trying to smear the church. And if you can look at the timing of his questioning, and at the time when the church is been trying to be very vocal about a lot of injustices that have been happening. Additionally, we've seen a public statement from some politicians openly declaring hostility towards the Catholic Church. So the optics have created a concern about the selective targeting with regards to this investigation. So now that question is heightened now, whether it's legitimate or it's a witch hunt, right? Like, let's take example, look at the issues of the medical procurement scandal, right? It didn't seem to attract as much urgency as the summoning of Bishop Alik Banda. So now people are asking, where is the same energy, the follow-up on these other high-profile corruption cases?
Yes.
So further, so further complicating this is also the questions around Hichilema. The President Hichilema recently donated funds to the Catholic Church a few months back, which I believe was refused by the church. And the Seventh-day Adventists too reportedly received large sums of money from the president. And now citizens are asking, where did that money come from? Was it the president's money? If not, was that taxpayers' money? Should there be accountability? So you can look at these financial discrepancies combined with the selective investigations. You can see that it's also contributing to the public perception around the case, right? So while the state has the right to investigate, like I said, perception is also critical, and the timing. So when citizens see that investigations appear to be selective and politically timed, it also risks weakening the rule of law, and it also just fuels divisions, because now we see people feel that it's just an attack on the church because the church is very vocal. They're against so many things that the current government is doing, and they're just trying to attack the church from within, inside. And you really can't blame sections of society that are claiming it's a witch hunt. So whether these investigations are a witch hunt or are legitimate, it's quite dependent on the timing and the public perception. Like I said, the state shouldn't be surprised if people think it's a witch hunt, because because of the manner in which they are carrying out these investigations, very selective, and the rule of law thrives on fairness, right? Transparency and public trust. So once these investigations appear that they are selective, they are politically timed, even lawful actions can lose credibility.
Can look suspicious or look like they are witch hunts. Yeah.
Exactly. So fighting corruption basically effectively should mean pursuing every case that comes out fairly, no matter who's involved. So, yeah.
Kapale.
Actually, thank you very much again, Pastor Muzezeti. Very nice meeting you. Nkhoma, very nice meeting you, Ava. It's my pleasure. I won't even miss my words. I think it's a witch hunt. Like Muzezeti mentioned, I agree with her, right? Zambians are not against investigations of anybody, just like anywhere in the world. But we are all against intimidation. And this one seems like it's an intimidation. Now, I was privileged, actually, growing up in Lusaka, to be a Catholic. I was an altar boy, and I went to a Catholic school. And so I understand the Catholics are actually intended to be a priest at one point. And then when I finished my high school, I also became a Seventh-day Adventist. So then I have, like, I understand both sides. I was the AY director, right? So I understand it from both angles. Now, if you look at it, what we have in Zambia now, we are in big trouble. What we have is we have tribalism, and we have also the religion aspect. Now, if you look at how the Catholic came to Zambia, right? I think it's 1895, right? They arrived in a place run by Mwata Kazembe, the kingdom of Mwata Kazembe, right? And that is in the depth of the Bemba kingdom, right? And when they arrived there, Mwata Kazembe was already established. So had colonial structures and traditional structures. And then the white fathers there, the Catholics, arrived there, and they kind of utilized the traditional and colonial structures and eventually reached the Copper Belt, right, the Central Province. They reached the Northern Province. That is why, although in the Catholic, there's a lot of tribes, but predominantly we see it's like a Bemba type of a church. Even their songs are like Bemba, you know, there's that character of a Bemba. And then obviously the Bemba are friends with the Nyanja. So most times you find that it's usually Eastern and Northern and Wapula, and other tribes are in there. Now let's go to the seventh day. The seventh day arrived in Rusangu, I think in Mwanza, in Rusangu. And they are the headquarters over there. So predominantly the SDA is Tonga. And then from there, they had different teaching. And they were opposing. You see, they arrived in 1895. 10 years later, 1895, 10 years later, 1905. So they were opposing. That is why if you go, I've heard messages, preachers, where the Catholics is like anti-Christ in the SDA. I've heard it myself. And then they actually, these are opposing churches. That where everything gets to be like poisonous is that there's also the tribal aspect, where there's one tribe actually which thinks everybody's against them, right? So now you have, that's how we got to the point where Batuki Imenda, right?
Yes.
Called the same Archbishop as the Lucifer of Zambia.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So if you call somebody the Lucifer of Zambia, and this guy, this gentleman, the Archbishop, will go on Monday to people who think he's a Lucifer. To me, it's the witch hunt. It's beyond witch hunt. It's actually Satanism. I don't know what they call it. It's beyond just the witch hunt. I think he's going into a place where they think he's a Lucifer. Now, I would have ended there if I said, well, maybe it's just a one-off thing. But then when you look at Nelson Banda, right? When he was appointed in 2023, he was appointed like in May. And by that December, he arrested the first lady.
Nelson Banda, the, what do you call it? The DEC director, whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Appointed by, I think, May. By December, he moved expeditiously. And he arrested for the first time in the history of Zambia, the former first lady of Zambia, Esther Lungu. And what followed, he declared Tarsila Lungu, the most wanted individual in Zambia. If you look at the girl, she looks very innocent. I don't. Most of the things may have been done by her dad, and then it went on. It was Chieso, right? Lungu, right?
Yeah.
Now what followed after that? It's a lot of patriotic front, and I'm not patriotic front. I'm not partisan. They were going to jail, right? You have GPM going to jail. Chishimba Kambwili. There was a video of him just a few weeks ago walking like a duck. He's the shadow of the man that he was. You see, they pretty much like reduced this man. So if you tell me that this is not a witch hunt, I can openly say it's the witch hunt from the tribal and the religion point of view. Okay. And I think where this gentleman is going, and they've given him a case. I think theft of the motor vehicle. I think according to the Constitution, it's probably unbailable.
It's not bailable. Yeah, it's not bailable.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Do you think it's going that direction, Dr. Nkhoma? You can also contribute from your point of view, but can you address this issue of, do you think it's going that direction of theft of motor vehicle not being bailable? You are on mute. Oh, okay.
We lost the doctor.
He comes back, Mzeziti, do you think it's okay? There he is. Yeah, go ahead. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, if you follow it from that angle of a motor vehicle theft, as it, if it is classified in that sense, yes, according to the Zambian law, from the understanding that I have, it's unbailable. All right. But the reality of the matter is that there is no merit that Archbishop Dr. Alik Banda stole the car. Let me use that word. But rather he was gifted. So I don't think that they would use that. It would be naive of them. The questioning that, of course, as we will go on, allow me to state that legally, like the DG for DEC was trying to explain, to say he's trying to do his job, in other words. But also just like...
And he was emphasizing that this is not political. This is a law enforcement agency. Okay? Yeah.
Yes. Now, in law, there is a term which states to say, fecit per se, facit per alium. Okay? Now, the law of facit per se, facit per alium explains to say, before you do something, who has sent you, in a simple thing. So it's the who has sent you, which is implying that this is politically motivated. Now, one thing that people do not know is that Archbishop Alik Banda, he's not a doctor of divinity. One thing that I want to state is a person that I've had the opportunity to be close to him. He's got a PhD in law. He's a lawyer.
Oh, really?
He's got PhD, and I'm not talking about honorary doctorate. I'm talking about he's got PhD in law.
He did the work.
Yes. So this does not intimidate him at all.
Okay.
Now that That is actually. Go ahead.
I was coming to say, so we are faced that from the statement I made of the legal interpretation, that simply entails that even if we run away, we say it's not politically motivated. Even no matter how much we try to run away from it, it is still politically motivated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as I've said, that Archbishop, so if you try to use the law, to bring a political mileage, then we will use the law to defend that. And you will find that the state will end up being offside. Now, on the other hand, I enjoyed so much the history that Adaka brought on this. I was laughing one way, because he tries to bring a balance. These are serious matters that in governance somebody ought to look at, more especially when you rise at the helm of governance. Now, one of the things that politicians do not study when they aspire and they are caught up with, there is a subject called statecraft, beyond diplomacy. Now, when you look at statecraft, teaches you on how a state ought to operate. And this marries to what my sister was trying to say, that the church has played a vital role. Now, she's using that statement as a church, but I will say this based on the work that I've been doing for the last about 14 years. In a country, you have got citizens. Now, you can only find, this will never be found easily written in black and white, but it's there, it's a reality. You've got citizens, you've got individuals, and you've got personalities. Now, personalities are embodiments of certain institutions. When you look at Archbishop Alik Banda, one of the things that people do not know is that Archbishop Alik Banda, he's not the president of the Council of Bishops of the Catholics. No. But the president is Archbishop Chama, who is the bishop of the Kasama, the Diocese of Kasama.
Diocese of Kasama.
But you will discover that because Archbishop Alik Banda stands out as an institution, he is not a person. When you sit down with Archbishop Alik Banda, look at him from the institutional angle. Then when you attack him, you must be conscious of the constituency he commands. And in this regard, my question really is very simple to the government. Have they checked the blind corners as they do that?
That's exactly what Mzeziti was trying to say about public perception.
Let me give an example. I don't know if I should give this example because I don't want to be quoted off that I'm being quoted, but I'll give it as an example.
Just give it. Citizen Forum.
I was in 2021, early 2021, I was on Newsroom Africa. There is a channel called Newsroom Africa in South Africa. Now, I've done consultancy for senior leaders. And so Newsroom Africa asked me, there was a situation in South Africa where President Jacob Zuma was to be arrested for contempt. He refused to go to the Commission of Inquiry.
I remember that.
Now, I was seated on a program like this for Newsroom Africa. And they said to me, Dr. Nkhoma, what's your take? President Zuma will be arrested. And I indicated, and I did not miss my words, I said, if I were President Ramaphosa, immediately I will engage the prerogative of presidency and pardon the man. Immediately. Then they say, nobody's got this case, that case, that case. I said, yes, I understand. Then they asked me by the journalist, why was I emphatic on that? I say, Zuma in prison is more powerful than the Zuma outside prison. Now, in this case, the government of Zambia must look at what happened when Zuma was locked up. Immediately Zuma was locked up, within 48 hours, the whole country was on fire. Now, I am saying this because the strength of Archbishop Alik Banda at this point is not in the Catholic Church. No. They are people who are outside the Catholic Church who will come up and look at it and say, this is purely political and it ought to be addressed political. And at that point, the government may regret the action.
Okay. Let's look at this comment. Mzezit, I want you to address this. Brenda says, if he received the car, he needs to appear and explain how the car got to him. The person who signed off the transfer of the car needs to be held accountable. Vale Folesha Fiamma properties and cars. Okay. The question here is, I want you to respond to that comment, Mzezeti, and does it matter? What's my question? Does it matter who gives you a gift and how that gift is given, or just respond to that comment? He needs to respond. He needs to be accountable.
So before I answer that question, I would just like to state also that, like I said before, the state does have the right to investigate anyone because, of course, no one is above the law, right? Including His Grace Archbishop Alik Banda. But with regards to, this is why I went back and said, we look at the perception and the timing and the manner in which it's happening. It seems to be, we can clearly see that it's selective justice, right? So personally, I don't see anything wrong with summoning him. It's just the propaganda around trying to summon him and the manner in which, like what Dr. Nkhoma said, he said something very important, right? I would like to just draw everyone's attention to that, where he says that His Grace Archbishop Alik Banda is an individual, but because of the institution he commands, is more like the institution, right? So we can see that the state is also trying to separate him as an individual from the Catholic Church institution. And that is why we've seen statements like, look, his name is on the white book and not the Catholic Church. So we can also see an attempt to seclude him from the church, which we could also think that, they're actually trying to target him and for him being very vocal within the governance space. But to answer that question, personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with summoning him, but it's the manner and the procedure in which this is being carried out. And also, with that being said, if they are trying to establish that he's the one that stole the vehicle, right? Everyone is proven innocent.
Until?
So basically everyone is innocent until you're proven guilty.
Yes.
So I think that due process should just take place. The burden is on the state to find him guilty, not on public perception, no His Grace Archbishop Alik Banda.
Yeah.
Kapale, EMV, Emmanuel Nkhoma, made a comment to say, why someone the recipient of the gift and not the giver of the gift?
Yeah. So again, like Muzezet mentioned, right? We are not against investigation to retrieve state property. There is a structure around that, and we appreciate that. But we are against intimidation. Now, if Mr. Hakainde Hichilema gave me a vehicle today, I won't ask him where he got it. I'll take the vehicle, especially if I can put it in my name. Why am I going to ask who gave me the vehicle? They should go ask where he got it, and then that's the person who is responsible. Now, I want to go back to what the doctor mentioned, and this is very, very serious.
Yes.
Yet, truly, you're saying the Dr. Alik Banda is a doctor, right, in law. Yeah. But I need to call this out that we are not dealing with that anymore. In Zambia, you need a new case study on Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. You've never seen this. So even in the law doctrine or tenets, you've never seen this because you have a gentleman, actually, and we're going to talk about this later, who went to South Africa, right, and wanted to break their constitution over there. The Constitution of South Africa says that the widow is the one that should be in charge of the body. But no, he feels he can go there and break it. And from when that happened, and you're talking about Bill 7, and if you talk to me, I'll tell you he was going to pass it because if he has it in his mind that he can go and break the Constitution over there, what about the Constitution in his own country? Now, what he has right now, he has, I think, essentially, he's in charge of the judiciary, he's in charge of the legislative and the executive. He is what Kaunda feared, okay? Kaunda was not a psychic or a prophet. When he said there's only one man from the South that I'm afraid of, he knew that there's only one person who is capable of breaking the country. How did he know, if you ask me, right? How did he know? Because now he's gone, but we can see this happening, right? The country is broken on religion, the country is broken on tribal. And how did Kaunda know? Well, if you look back, I think Dr. Nkhoma here is a historian. You look back in 1972, there was a gentleman, Mines Achona, from the South. And he is the architect of the Mines Achona Constitution. What that Constitution achieves is what this Act 13 achieves. Essentially, it makes one man in charge of all areas and only one political party, which is unique, that you would do whatever political transaction or business, right? So this is what you have right now. Now, you may be like a PhD. You're going to the courts, and the gentleman is in charge of the courts. Now, later on, history will judge it and will correct it. But I think right now, academicians need to look at this issue like it's a new issue that you're dealing with. We've never had the president not buried for 211 days. We've never had where the Patriotic Front, the main opposition parties, obliterated. We've never had where the members of parliament, like even Tassila, that everything is getting destroyed and broken. So the academicians, I know how academics work. You look at data and then you study it and you form a pattern and you predict the future. Now, this, what you have here is a new thing, academicians. This right here, we are in a territory where pretty much Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is just waiting to start his second term with no opposition. And we've never seen that. It's the same thing what they had in UNIP, right? Vote yes, we approve. Vote no, no change. And when you hear they're saying HA 2090, that's essentially what they're saying. If they got bill number 7 passed, there'll be bill number 6. Okay, maybe they'll get rid of term limits. There'll be bill number 5.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And they'll keep going and on. Yeah. So we must look at this as a new thing and be creative. And that's the only chance you have, actually. If you start looking at this not from the point of like law, no, you have to look at what Kaunda did. It's already happened, actually. Just go back to 1972. And then from that, you can extrapolate what will happen. They are saying 2090 now. Kaunda was about, 27 years? So
Yeah.
that's my perception about this whole matter.
They are saying 2090. Let's conclude this rule of law conversation. We have a lot of things to talk about. We need to talk about the barrier of ECL. We need to talk about the Electoral Commission, and we are already like 40 minutes into this thing. Let's finish this. I'll go around what each one of you say. Is corruption genuinely being tackled effectively or selectively, Dr. Nkhoma? Just brief comments.
The challenge is corruption should not be fought only by those who occupied office, or should not only be targeted by those who were in office before, but also current corruption should be investigated.
How does current corruption look to you, Dr. Nkhoma, in this scenario? The only thing we have seen is what's the name? Garin Combo being fired and blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Unfortunately, the institutions of governance in Zambia are not well empowered because of this matter, which Mr. Daka has mentioned, where there is so much power that is vested in the executive. I'm looking forward to a day where a chief justice will be interviewed before they are appointed. I'm looking forward to a day where the director of Anti-Corruption Commission is interviewed. I'm looking forward to a day where a speaker of parliament will not come out of floors and corridors of political lines. I'm looking forward to that day. But for now, you can see that there is seriously selective justice in the nation of Zambia, particularly. But until we cross that bridge, for now, we have to manage what we've got on the plate. Yeah.
Okay. Mzezeti, is corruption genuinely being tackled effectively or selectively?
What I would say is that, effectiveness is measured by consistency and not the headlines. So it's very common for people to measure the effectiveness of corruption by looking at the headlines. What I can say is that if the politically sensitive cases like the public health procurement scandal was not treated with the same agency as the case of His Grace Archbishop Alik Banda, I would say public trust is just being eroded. And because I believe that the anti-corruption fight must be fearless, it must be impartial, it must be systematic, and otherwise it's just becoming a tool for political oppression of those that are not speaking or
can we achieve the component or aspect of impartiality, to Dr. Nkhoma's point, if the officers of the law are appointed?
Can you ask the question again? I lost.
Yeah, I'm saying, to your point of one of the items you've mentioned is the component of impartiality. Can we attain or achieve impartiality if the officers of the law are appointed by the president?
I would say that it's quite impossible if the way that the anti-corruption is structured, the fact that it was even moved from where it was, now it's under the office of the president. I would say that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't have, you can't fight corruption, in a very fair manner if the state or the ruling party, they actually have these anti-corruption officers or directors within State House. How then can the fight be fair?
Oh my goodness.
Right now,
is that the situation?
Yeah. I wanted just to chip in.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Nkhoma.
The English people, they say you can't bite the finger that bites.
Oh, even Dr. Kaunda used to say that. Stupid idiot.
I lament on that point, because I had a meeting at some point with then the acting director general of the Anti-Corruption Commission of Zambia. Just, I think it was 2022, 2023. And I brought to her table a very serious case of serious scandals that has, at the later stage, came and blew off, which you guys are in public space. But I addressed it in confidence. She asked me a very strong question. How will I fight this? We gave her what she needed to do, to use to fight that. But I promise you that she never lasted. Immediately, she was removed quietly. And they brought in the DG who is currently there. It's somebody who has even wanted to contest under the UPND government, wanted to contest in the previous elections under the UPND ticket. So with that, it becomes a very serious challenge to fight corruption. You cannot fight corruption like that. I give literal example here where I'm sitting around in South Africa. The lady who was the public protector, she was a member of the EFF. And she was able to investigate and expose the president that he was hiding dollars of money under the carpet or under his chairs. The people who made President Zuma to leave office, it was the public protector, Tuli Madonsela, who spoke strongly of state capture. But when you look at our country, I'm talking about putting pressure from the public protector, not from the politicians, to the level whereby President Zuma had to resign. He had to resign. He had to leave the throne. Why? Because the public protector's office was working. Now, when you look at our country, you find that these people are appointed. So before you fire me, I will ask you the question, or before you investigate me, I will ask you the question, who gave you that job? Immediately I ask you that question, you are frozen. You are going nowhere. You can't.
It's just the way our system is designed. Okay, we are going to change gears here. We've dwelled too much on this. The next question, of course, I want Kapale to take up this one, but let's watch this video. Let's watch this video. We are transitioning here. Okay.
Fellow Zambians, it is with profound sorrow that we announce the passing of His Excellency, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, 6th President of the Republic of Zambia, who departed this morning at 06 hours at Nedi Farm Clinic, a center in South Africa. My father, President Lungu, had been under medical supervision in recent weeks. His condition was managed with dignity and privacy, with support from all well-wishers. In this moment of grief, we invoke the spirit of one Zambia, one nation. The timeless creed that guided President Lungu's service to our country. In time, the nation will be involved to be informed of other arrangements. Thank you. God bless you.
That day, all of us at first thought it was one of those social media fake things, right? Until that video clip came up. Kapale, can you remember where were you when you saw that?
Actually, I was privileged when it first happened. I have a friend, I think he's in the inner circles, right, of the ECL, and he called me. It was morning. I was in Arizona at that time. And when he called me, he said, ECL is gone. literally was not his supporter, but I was shaking. He said, like you could see me visibly impacted by that, right? So by the time I was seeing that video, I'd already heard the news.
Already heard news that.
Yeah, but that news is shocking even today. We as the nation are still in mourning, all because of actually the same thing I keep going back to, dividing the country. The country is divided. And that is a symptom of what is going on in our country. We are a country that has not moved on. We are still mourning. That news that I received that day, 211 days ago, I still feel it every day because the former president is still laying in a mortuary, right? Now, when there's a reason the president raises up the Bible, right, at the Heroes Stadium and says, I swear to protect the Constitution and the people of Zambia. At that time, you're under his authority. Now, once a president, always a president, right? The same thing with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Once a president, always a president. What we have that has never happened before in the history of our country is where we have not just a regular individual, a former president. And then it's been politicized. See, if a person is in a mortuary for 2 weeks, it's bad in our tradition as a people. Now, 211 days. And then the way it was handled, like a few weeks later, he wants to tell the nation to move on. Now, if the nation has moved on, they're well and good. But I know it's impossible to move on when the person who had authority over you, right, is in a morgue. Right. And that is why you see all these things happening in our nation. It's a nation in a turmoil right now because we have just one person. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you look at it, President Ifyel being in a mortuary, it is what is a cloud on our country. And then the embarrassing event that happened in that court, right? When he tried to break the Constitution of South Africa. And then there was the sister to Ifyel talking about witchcraft and all these evil things that happened, and pretty much we were embarrassed as a country. And then what's more embarrassing is our judiciary is incapable of handling such a case, such that we had to rely on South African lawyers. Right now, it's 2 South African lawyers, right, discussing the death of our president.
But Kapale, wait. Isn't the issue of 2 South African lawyers because our lawyers do not have, what do you call it, the jurisdiction to, they can't practice in a foreign country?
No, not really, because the government of the Republic of Zambia, GRZ, is a very powerful government. They didn't even need to go to the courts in the first place. They took it to the court. They took it to the courts. The government of Republic of Zambia took it to the courts, not the family. So they took it to the courts as a gimmick to delay the burial because they felt insulted. The government of Republic of Zambia, if you just let it be act in a partial way, there's a lot of good lawyers and good academicians over there and good religious leaders that could have handled this issue clearly. But if they had done it, maybe it was going to be against the government. So, you know, like they say in Bemba, sorry about that. They say in Bemba, umufulo, meaning, look, you know what? Until you talk to me, I'll block the burial. And that's what we have. And we have a family that is mourning every day. We have a country that is mourning every day. I'm still mourning every day. And everything is not working, right? You look at the soccer team, right? They're not doing well. I attribute all that to the death of Edgar Lungu.
Whatever. Okay.
Now, you can prove this wrong, this theory, you can prove it wrong. Bury him, and they see how everything changes. Then that can be proven wrong.
Mzezeti, was the government of Zambia taking the Lungu family the most absurd thing in our political history?
I think many Zambians experienced that moment with a lot of disbelief. Taking a grieving family to court over burial arrangements felt very unnecessary and deeply insensitive. So regardless of the legal arguments that are there, politics is also about judgment and empathy. So this episode
which doesn't seem to be at play in our politics in Zambia, judgment and empathy. I don't see it in there. This has got nothing to do with the UPND. In my view, generally our politics don't have empathy.
So this episode risks being remembered as a moment where the state appeared heavy-handed at a time when compassion should have been led. And for President Hichilema's presidency, I think that this will likely be seen as a failure of political wisdom rather than legal necessity and all the legal arguments that we've seen. And those moments will linger in public memory for a very long time. Now, if you look at the public memory and its contents, it's like I like to talk about perception, right?
Yes.
In the manner in which the government or Hichilema's administration handled this case. My apologies.
That's okay. That's fine. Kids will be kids. Kids will be kids.
Yes, go see, man.
It's Happy New Year after all.
So, like I was saying, so for the presidency, Hichilema's administration will be, so for moments, this will linger in public memory, right? I was talking about public memory. Now, if we talk about the contents of public memory, I like to talk about public perception. And what are the contents? So we hear people feel like this is, it was a tribal repression, others political repression. And now we can see that all this will linger in the public memory of Zambian citizens for a very long time. And we will likely, if this continues, we will likely see a heightened and increase in religious and political tensions and polarization because of the failure of Hichilema's government to act with compassion during a time when they should have.
To act with compassion. Dr. Nkhoma, what reflection does this have going forward 10, 15, 20 years from now on HH's president's show, on his legacy as a president?
It's a sad memory. He has created a sad memory. There was no need for him to push it to that. I know that they have brought about a number of justifications. First and foremost, what must be established to all Zambians is that the Lungu family did not refuse to bury Edgar in Zambia. That is evident, and that must be put to record clean and straight. I did a video. I think it was one of my commentaries. I can't remember, one television station from Zambia had asked me when he just passed on. And they had asked me, I think it was ZNBC and another station, I can't remember. They asked me to make comments on that. And the first comment was, firstly, he was the president for all Zambians. That has to be accepted. But legally, again, there I go. Legally, the next of kin is always entitled to the body. Then there is no law.
You know, it appears that is not clear in the Constitution.
No, it is. It is very clear. And it might not be in black and white, but we can use supporting structures of our governance system, of our laws. That's how it is. Because even like right now, and I'm glad that this matter has been pushed into the legal system or the judicial system of South Africa. And even when it began, I know that when this case was taken to court, I know I don't want to divulge certain information because the case is very much active in the court.
Yes,
But it was something that when they asked me to get involved to help here, there technically, I availed my services and I wouldn't lie. Because I knew, and I also know that at this moment, I am glad that it is happening in the South African courts. Because the South African courts is very clear, plain, black and white. The body of a deceased belongs to the next of kin. Now, where they, unfortunately, and this is where it is unfortunate, it becomes unfortunate to the government that when it comes to skills of negotiations and mediations, they failed drastically. They failed dismally. And I said this even to the team that was sent to come and mediate. I echoed a number of loopholes. I said, first and foremost, you don't mediate matters of such importance as this. Mr. Kama, Reverend Kama, allow me, with privilege of, you know, I'm an African. I'm a true African. Let me use my culture, which Edgar Lungu also comes from. Culturally, here is a woman who was a widow. She's been widowed. The most decent thing that was supposed to happen before they involved politicians and men and women of influence to mediate, the first thing they were supposed to do is to get the first lady, the former first lady, or all the other. So we've got First Lady Kaseva of Michael Sata, where Edgar Lungu paid allegiance to the Patriotic Front. So Miss Kaseva was very important on this matter as a woman and as a widow. The second one was Tandiwe. Tandiwe Band. Then it was Mutinda, the first lady. These three women were going to be sent. Patakwa, we say, wakakuze marilo. That was never done. Instead, they sent Leslie Mbula, a powerful man. But they sent Bakavindele, a powerful man. They sent these men, they sent the cabinet secretary, I think, or something like that. These were all powerful men. All men in their trouser. 5 of them against women crying as a widow. How? And in our culture, it was difficult for a woman to air out her views. Hence, they have to use an outsider who was their legal advisor. Now he has to become their family spokesperson. Plus a legal advisor who is Makebi Zulu. Unfortunately, Makebi Zulu can only go far. Now, this is another mistake, Mr. Kama. Allow me to finish with this.
No problem.
Here's another mistake. Culturally, Makebi Zulu may be coming from Eastern Province, but he doesn't come from the same culture with Edgar Lungu. Makebi Zulu is in Ngoni. Edgar Lungu is in Senga. You needed to have a very clear understanding of cultural barriers and customs and traditions. This matter would have been solved without taking it to court. It is, like we say, in the memory of Zambia, in the history of Zambia, the most sad moment is these last 6 months that we have had kept the body of our president in the morgue. And we have decided as a country to move on with politicking going for Bill 7 and whatever, fighting all these matters and so on and so forth, with one major issue unresolved. I feel at this point, President HH, who I love, has missed a very big opportunity to strike.
Do you
now, Pastor Nkhoma, I want to add to what Dr. Nkhoma said. Now, HH, like there's a lot of outcry, right? They say HH has missed it. There's a lot of people. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to everyone. He doesn't care. Okay, so you have to look at it from that angle that he doesn't care. Then you have a chance. Now, moving on to Alec Banda. Coming back to Alec Banda. Alec Banda was actually a friend to ECL, right? And then also was consoling the First Lady, right? Esther Lungu, right? And actually, he was supposed to play a big role in these negotiations, right? So all that is coming together, right? Had Alec Banda not been a friend to ECL, would he be going for investigation on Monday? I don't think so. Had Alec Banda not spoken for the poor, he wouldn't be going for investigation. Now, coming back to the funeral, like the doctors mentioned here, it's the most embarrassing and the most upsetting thing. But I'm more upset, actually, with the chief. I know I'm a little person, but the chiefs, starting from the Mupezeni, going to Mazimavi, to Kalindawalo, all those chiefs, now they even want to go do Nchwala. Are you going to do your Nchwala with your child? See, he's from Petauke, Edgar Lungu. But to me, I consider him as a man from the East. So therefore, all those chiefs, are they going to continue with their traditional celebrations, right? And then just move on with a child that they actually share their meal. I never met these chiefs. Edgar Lungu may have shared a meal with them. So my question is, and which is my appeal, and I think the traditional leaders have like a lot of influence in this. I know when Hakainde was, Mr. Hakainde was arrested, there was one chief who literally moved from his palace and started living closer to him in the jail. Because chiefs have power. Because before politics, they were chiefs. And then the chiefs have gone quiet. And just a few weeks ago, a month, he made them stand up to sing the national anthem. That's when I knew we are in trouble here. The chief should actually play a big role. Like the doctors mentioned, right? Edgar Lungu is from Petauke. There is one Emmanuel JJ Banda from Petauke, and he's a man, I think, who understands the tradition over there. They would have involved a man like that, right? But they didn't. It was all about these powerful men in trousers, and it's about showing power. It's about showing to prove that who is going to win this. It's like a contest. It's a contest of a dead man. Who is smartest? Who is going to win this? Who got the power? And I'll show them. But no one is competing with the man who's in charge of the military, the police, and all the intelligence. No one is competing and trying to fight such a man. All we want is do the moral thing. Just bury the former president. Just bury. Don't
you think that in the process, when these negotiations started, I remember a certain point when things really, they say, went south, when things deteriorated. The family was cooperating, but somewhere along the way, there is a perception that the family was being misguided or misled by political interests. Don't you think that's what led us to the impulse?
Pastor Nkhoma, so at that time, I had a little connection to the inner circle of ECL. When they wrote the program, when the Maccabi signed, it was a contract actually that he agreed on how they will bring the body to Zambia and bury it. But then the family got this thing from social media where the program didn't align with what they had agreed. Now, I was in kind of inner circles. There was so much pain in that family. They didn't know what to do because they had already packed their bags. They had the plane at the airport, ready to leave the next day. And in that night, they were scampering, trying to make a decision. It was so sad because the only man that was there, I think, that we were relying on was Maccabi. So they had to make a decision, and they were worried if the body lands in Zambia, according to that program, the military will take over, and then they will never see that. And then they were just crying. It was women crying in the background. So the agreement was there. The family wanted to bury. The only problem that was there is the program changed. And the number one issue that changed there is where there was a program saying, once the body arrives, it will go to a secluded room for a special church service. That special church service is it didn't include any members of the family. It was just a special church service, and that is worried the family. Like why? And traditionally, right? Why would they lose sight of a respectable man, right? And so that's why we got to be where we are. From when it went like that, he literally at that moment started trying to use state machinery to get the body.
You know what I think? You know what I think, Kapale? Mzeziti, I want you to. You know what I think? Like you have rightly said, the women or the family was in sorrow, in distress, if we may use that word.
Yeah.
When you are mourning, you have people who are doing things for you because you are not in the right frame of mind, if I may use that for lack of a better term. Don't you think, Mzeziti, there is an element of manipulation here of the family by those around them?
I can't speak to the intentions, but I can speak to the possibilities because of definitely when you are grieving a loved one, you could easily be manipulated because your state of mind, right? I choose to not speak to the intentions because I wouldn't know what people intended to do. I was not there or I was not around them.
Of course,
but what I would say that it's highly possible that they could be manipulated and many of the decisions may or could not have been what they would have wanted if they were in the right state of mind. So the possibility is high.
Possibilities.
But then, Pastor, one point, Pastor. When the daughter when they sued them, you said they were in court. So they were in church getting ready for burial and all that stuff. Then they received a notification that you actually in the court. There's an injunction to this. One of the daughters went and she was in tears. She says, "Daddy, go, please." She was begging ECL and it was so sad. "Daddy, why have you refused to be buried? Please, we want you to go." So there can't be any manipulation. The interest of the ECL family is to bury their daddy. And there's no any other manipulation that I can see in that regard. If today the one man says, "I will stay away from this burial," ECL will be buried, I think, in the afternoon tomorrow. There's only one man blocking the burial.
I'll tell you this. To me, it's not even about HH and all what. There's a lot of stuff at play here. How can Dr. Nkhoma, I want you to respond to this. How can civil society use this moment to advocate for clear protocols on public mourning and state involvement?
Clearly speaking, on this, I think going forward, because we are looking at now going forward. Going forward, there is need that the civil society should really engage positively and actively into these kind of national debates and matters. And also to make sure then that if Zambia wishes to legislate about how to bury certain clusters of people, that should be legislated. But again, we cannot deprive the prerogative that a family has. I would give an example. President Mugabe. Now, I know, Reverend, you will forgive me on this. I always say I am an African. President Mugabe, before he died, and these are examples we give.
Yeah, even Mandela and who's the other guy?
But I want to focus on Mugabe for a reason.
Yeah.
They have the Heroes Acre, which Mugabe himself built or developed to put their heroes, in which is one of their heroes. But before Mugabe died, based on how he was removed from power, he said, if I die, I do not want Constantine Chiwenga. I do not want Emerson Mnangagwa to be there. Then beyond that, he said, I don't want to be buried at Heroes Acre. Why? He said, those that have usurped my power will use my body for rituals. Now,
let me stop you right there. Not that I don't want you to continue. Here's the problem I have with that. Okay, these are learned men. Okay, President Lungu was a lawyer for crying out loud. Every ushomuntu, let me say in Bemba, umuntu ngalela nde 1512. Vamakebi, Valubinda, all those around him. Wouldn't you say, Bakateka, let's tubule pepala. Can you say that again? Let me get a piece of, maybe I'm being naive, okay? Can it tulembe if we put it in writing? Shouldn't that be? No. You see, continue, Nkhoma. That's my thinking.
At that point, by the way, I wanted to state this, that, you see, education on our side as Africans does not take our Africanity away.
Exactly.
And our African belief systems. So I said, instead of putting assumptions, because I had the same problem as well, I asked the Lungus, and I still ask the question, said, why don't you want HH to attend the burial? Can you state in black and white? Now, Mugabe said, they will use my body for rituals. Don't bury me in Heroes Acre until my body decomposes.
Yeah.
So when Mugabe died, the state engaged to want to bury him on Heroes Acre. But the family was given the right, and they said, let's take it to the village. Until today, Mugabe lies in the village, not at Heroes Acre.
Because of mysticism.
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 So now, on that point, I also said, because we heard these assumptions and rumors, people speaking. Unfortunately, it is not in the affidavits of the court. Unfortunately, it was not spoken somewhere publicly. So, hence this pull. Now, away from that, I am saying, the nation has failed to move forward because of hatred. The hatred among our civic leaders is what caused this matter to drag so much. Legislating where to bury who. I also think, as much as it is a great idea, as much as it can ease things, but when I look at it, it will still infringe on the rights of the family.
Okay.
Now, Pastor,
wait. Here is a comment here. Makebi is selfish and has misled the family and the country. Mzezeti, do you think it was morally right for Makebi to do what he did? Come back and say he wants to be a presidential candidate. I know I'm putting you on the spot on this one. Because there's a lot of mysticism to say, so now in Erimbialand, since I can become president. What will stop me from thinking like that?
I see here, is it at Brenda? So it's a comment from Brenda who says Makebi is selfish and has misled the family and the country. So from my understanding,
these are the people who have misled the country. Why shouldn't we believe that? I mean,
So,
Chiwele Fiati Ndevo Kuva presidential candidate. Sorry, Mzezet, I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
I can't speak to Makebi's job description, being the family spokesperson, and what that job description looks like. But whether Makebi is selfish and misled the family and the country, I wouldn't know. I'll be honest, right? I wouldn't know. But one thing that I would rather choose to speak to than talk about whether Makebi was selfish or not was that this whole situation revealed serious policy gap. And I feel that there should be a clear written framework outlining what constitutes a state funeral and the family's rights, what they are, and what happens when there's such a disagreement. So without this clarity, this is why we saw what happened. So we can see how this grief actually led to conflict because we didn't have a proper framework. So I think I would prefer to speak to the policy gap this issue revealed than whether I understand Makebi's job description as a family spokesperson.
Yeah, I agree with you. We shall come back and address the issue of policy on the state funeral and what the Constitution says. Yeah, I think we need to take a break here. Don't you agree, Kapale?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's take a break, drink some water, let Moses to make some coffee or something. We shall come back and address the issue of policy on state funerals. And then our last issue for discussion for today is Bill 7. Thank you, everybody watching. Tag a friend.
Unlock your potential with Global Nurse Pathways. Hope, your trusted partner for mastering the NCLX. Our intensive virtual prep is built for your busy schedule. Flexible, focused, and designed for real results. Learn with Dr. Nalando, a highly credentialed nurse practitioner dedicated to your success.
For just $200, access comprehensive NCLX preparation and begin with a completely free trial session.
Move through systems at your own pace. Join and exit sessions freely as you master each topic.
We provide NCLX exam preparation and guidance only. No employment or immigration services. For employment or immigration needs, we may connect you with trusted third-party experts.
Call or WhatsApp +1 346 32811 or email globalnursepathways@gmail.com. Start your journey today. Register now and secure your free trial session available before purchase.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year again. This is year 16, as we are calling it. My guests today, we are talking about today it's Citizens Forum. So basically, what my guests are basically giving their views, their opinions, their perceptions about the issues pertaining to what is going on in Zambia. It's election year. We have 7 months to election year. Zezeti Mwanza, a governance expert, Mr. Kapale Daka, Mr. Nkhoma will be joining us shortly as well. He has taken like I said, we take a break. We spoke for too long and imisanaya chitampo kalipatef. Before we went on break, Mzezeti, you raised a point on how government should handle these things. I'm going to throw this question to you, and then Mr. Daka can also comment on it. Should the government introduce a clear written policy on state funerals to prevent similar deadlocks going forward?
Definitely. Absolutely. Like I mentioned before, we see that this situation has actually exposed this as a policy gap. And we've seen how this grief has led into conflict. and could affect us in the next years to come because of the memories that people will have in the manner in which the state has handled the state funeral, the death of the late president. So I believe that there should be a clear written framework outlining what constitutes a state funeral and what the family's rights are.
That is key. And I think that is a very key family rights, considering that we are an African people who have got cultural beliefs. You cannot take away the cultural beliefs and all those things. You can't run away from those things. It is what it is. Okay,
yes,
continue.
Definitely. So yeah, we understand that a head of state, he's a statesman, right? But also he was the family's person before anyone else's. So like I said, we also need to look at what the family's rights are, and also what happens when such a disagreement arises in future. So without this clarity, the state might end up improvising, and these improvisations in moments of grief, this type of, depending on who is the president at that time, whether they have empathy or not, could lead to more conflict. So I think that it's necessary that we have clear written policy on state funerals and also ensure that the families also have rights.
And the families also have rights. Another question to you, Mzezeti, before Mr. Kapale comes in. How can civil society use this moment to advocate for clearer protocols? Because this is your line of work, okay? On public, how can civil society use this moment to advocate for clearer protocols on public mourning and state involvement?
I would say that civil society, so this is an opportunity for civil society to push for reforms rather than just public statements or just political commentary, right? So this is also a moment to advocate for clear protocols on public mourning and state involvement and respect for families so that no future government can repeat this mistake. So any civil society organizations that could be working within this line of work could also propose any draft laws and work with the government on the same. So civil society's role is to turn this national embarrassment into institutional learning.
Wow, powerful. That's a very powerful statement. And we know that, I'll still throw this question to you, Mr. Daka. Okay, should the government introduce a clear written policy on state funerals to prevent similar deadlocks going forward? You see, I'm going to say this because you and I are this side of the Atlantic Ocean, Kapale, okay? And clearly, although people don't like us to speak on this, let's learn a few things from Ayama democracies, America, and all these people. Today, you come to America, Kapale, you and I travel across the US to attend things, business. We go through TSA. Do people do even TSA is those guys who do the checking by airport, Nkhoma, when Mulenda, you've been here. Okay, that was introduced because of certain events that happened in the US, Kapale. Okay, like Mzezeti has said, to avoid this national embarrassment, Ichintunga chachitika. Shouldn't you sit down, Kapale? I want you to respond to this. Shouldn't you sit down and say, okay, this is not good, okay? What should we do?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor. Now, I actually want to go back to the question you asked earlier that former President Mugabe and ECA were learned, right? Why didn't they put this thing in writing? First of all, if I speak about my passing, right? And then you say, well, Kapale, put this in writing, I'll be suspicious of you. Like, I was just talking. He already want me to put it in writing. So these may have said it, but I don't think we can say that people around them didn't document it. And these are truly learned people. Now, when you say, well, this is just a superstition. Well, is superstition by presidents, and you and I have never been presidents. So if you see ECL saying the same thing, you see Mugabe saying the same thing, and I hear Kaunda also say he didn't want to be buried there. So it's superstition amongst presidents. And I take their word for it that there's some superstition involved here because I've never been a president. Otherwise, these are highly educated, well-informed international figures. They can't just have that superstition.
And at the end of the day,
there.
like Nkhoma keeps saying, at the end of the day, they are also Africans.
They're Africans and they know how it works. And that is why ECL's sister was out there in her outburst in court saying, I think she's much more closer to the president than I am. So I've never been, so I'll take a word for it, right? Now, when it comes to the United States that you mentioned, President Trump was not wanted at McCain's funeral. And President Trump didn't go to McCain's funeral. He respected that. What is difficult? And the barrier for McCain went as planned. It's as simple as just staying away because they don't want you. It's the family who doesn't want you there. Now, there's also an issue. Next issue that I want to tackle is about Makabe, right? I didn't get a chance to talk about Makabe. Now, Makabe, I think he did everything under in that situation, right? Based on his abilities. But I'll be very clear. I didn't expect Makabe to be in the to throw himself in the politics. In as far as I'm concerned, until we bury ECL, Makabe is supposed to be, unless he officially resigned. I don't think he officially resigned as a spokesperson. Right now, there's not been any update on what's happening because Makabe is doing politics, right? So I'm of the idea that if Makabe resigned, who is the next person? Because we are very interested in what's happening there. Now, when it comes to civil society, right? Civil society is the church. It's NGOs. These have shaped Zambia. These have helped us in the past. Unfortunately, I have bad news to civil society, bad news to the Law
Association of Zambia.
I've bad news to everybody who is dealing with Mr. Hakainde. You need to change your mindset. He is actually, I give him a lot of credit that he's been able to outthink and outsmart everyone. You need to change where you are because you see how it is. He's essentially destroyed opposition, and it's not. That is a very smart man who can do that. So I give him credit that he's been able to do that. And civil society, the church, everybody
is doing the same thing, right? Trying to consolidate his the Republican numbers in Congress. He's also doing that.
Actually, I give him credit too. If I was president, if I was president and I had an opportunity to destroy my opposition, I'll take it. It is up to the opposition themselves, right, to outthink presidents. They are and you. You see what I mean? So everybody there should be looking at this with a different perspective to realize what they're dealing with. Everybody must be smart to realize what they're dealing with. Otherwise, he's destroying everything. Now, when it comes to the law, like say, should we have public policy about the burial of a former president? Actually, I was very disappointed because that Bill 7 was an opportunity that we should have had an amendment to make it clear, right? About because we have a dead person there, and then right there, if they had it in there, we could have debated it and actually resolved the issue using the Bill 7. So I was very disappointed that when Mr. Hakainde had the press conference and he just spoke about the bill and he spoke about the opposition to the bill, didn't even give us a status of what is happening to the body of ACL. As of today, your guess is as good as mine of what is happening to the death of ACL. I think it's not just the NGOs. I think in the constitution of Zambia, we need an amendment and make it very clear, right, on the burial of a former president.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Those of you watching, please, I would thank you for commenting. We want to hear your views on this and what you think of some of the things that we're talking about. Nkhoma, Bill 7,
Yes. Bill 7.
Bill 7 has sparked intense debate.
Hey.
In your view, does the proposed delimitation process generally serve democratic representation?
Now, if we narrow it only to delimitation, we will not do justice to Bill 7.
No, of course.
But
take whatever direction you want to take. It's Bill 7.
Yeah, but if we look at it from the delimitation aspect, remember the debate of Bill 7, we call it Bill 7 now, but it has been there in Bill 10. All right.
Yes.
It was there in Bill 10. And so for me, I love consistency. And when I look at it from why did we reject Bill 10? That's where it's supposed to come in. The same reasons we rejected Bill 10 should be the same reasons why we needed to reject Bill 7. Now, it's been enacted into the Constitution. And so, having it been enacted into the Constitution, we are looking now at the word that I would use is the residue or its impact on society. I feel that first and foremost, I am not a believer of us continuing to empower the elite. And when I mean continuing to empower the elite, I mean talking about increasing a number of members of parliament in Zambia on the budget that we talk about every day, on where we look at our economy, which is a very small economy. I don't think that is justice to the poor people of Zambia. And when I talk about Zambia here, I'm not talking about Lusaka. I'm talking about people in Kimikete in Northwestern Province. I am talking about people in Wakambombo in up north in Chama. I'm talking about people in Vubwi. These are real people out there who the monies that we cut the constituencies. The salaries of these MPs that we are adding, the salaries of the MPs that we are adding, where will they come from? The same treasury that we are saying we inherited empty coffers. Right. Where is the money for this exercise going to come from? Now, you see, there is something that people do not, when you come to using politics for business, there is an element that many people do not pay attention. For example, if I come to the street in Lusaka, let's give an example, I change the name of the road. It simply means all the Google Maps have to be changed into that name. All the map and all that costs money. So it's not just cutting the constituency. There is a lot of resources invested in dividing a constituency. Constituency offices have to be constructed. People to manage have to be constructed. And all that have to be paid through the same treasury that we say we don't have money. That's one area that we have to look at when we talk about Bill 7. Now, when I talk about, for example, there is an element where we said about disabilities, people with, we have to add people with disabilities,
yes.
Or other people may call them, what's the other word? People with physical disabilities, or people at disadvantaged, things like that, body impairments or something like that. If we have to add those people, the question still remains, what criteria? Do we have the infrastructure that can support that which we are proposing? A very simple example that I've always given, even when Bill 7 was being debated, I gave the same question. I said, it sounds to be very good when we say we will add people who are disabled or people with disabilities. Then I said, if you ask a psychologist to define disability, they will tell you that all human beings have got a disability. So at that point, we did not need specifically it to be part of the Constitution to say that. Why? Because it should be a policy within a political party framework. If a political party has got followers and supporters within its ranks, they have people with disabilities, why not position them? The same thing with the youths and women. I have said the same thing. When President was appointing his ministers, he did not need it to be in the Constitution for him to appoint young people. There were a lot of young people that voted for him, a lot of young people. So he had the pool. He was going just to say, all right, I will have a youthful government. An example, Reverend Nkhoma is there. An example, Kenneth Kaunda. Kenneth Kaunda takes over government, 1964. He appoints his first cabinet. The oldest person was Simon Mwanza Kapwepwe. How old was he? 42 years of age. 42, the oldest person. Was it enacted or enshrined in our Constitution? The answer is no. But they had a deliberate policy. The same thing with the women and all that. There are many issues in Bill 7. Now, moving forward, I have said, with all honesty, I know the timing was not the best timing. I also know that there are a number of issues that the present government has not looked at. If they lose power, let's say, if they lose power as UPND, the Bill 7 that has been enacted will haunt them. Then they'll come and ask themselves a question and say, what did we do for ourselves?
What do you see if they lost power, like you say, would haunt them in the Bill 7?
Well, there are a number of issues. The Bill 7 that we have looked at, if I have to begin to break it down, the powers of, for example, appointing or choosing in bringing in people on merit, like the youths and all that. Do you know it's a cadre system of deployment that will be used? The same thing that we have fought, it will still be used.
You can't say that. We haven't seen it happen. How do you know that's the way to be done? Anyway,
unfortunately, I'm speaking from the political scientist aspect.
I know. Okay, I want to hear from Mzezeti.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Before Mzezeti comes in, for example, that young lady who was shouting the slogan, Commander Kwishiba, Kwishiba, Kwishiba. That young lady, already I can tell you, she'll be in parliament. How do I know? I don't have to be a witch.
Which one? The UNZA? Are you talking about the UNZA student?
Yes.
She's my guest. She's coming on the show next week.
She will be in parliament. I don't have to be a Sangoma. She will be in parliament.
Yeah. You agree with that? Okay, what's your take on Bill 7? Who says it?
I think with regards to Bill 7, I wanted to talk about delimitation, but Dr. Nkhoma made me feel like I need to emphasize something that he had talked about the increase in the number of nominated MPs, right? So I know that in many ways, a lot of people are saying the number is just small, right? It should be a minor issue. But what we don't understand is that we should not undermine the value of a country's constitution, right? Even minor changes have got a great impact
Yes, they do.
on the country's democracy. So now, when you look at a democracy which is founded on the principles of a representative government, right? Every constitutional modification, even if you say, oh, you add 3 extra MPs, it's just small, it must be justified by necessity, right? It must address a clear and defined issue of why that increase is important, and does it serve public interest, and also does it increase accountability, right? Now, a quick look at the increase and the justification. Personally, I would say that there was no proper justification for that increase, because when you actually scrutinize, there was no proper justification for that extra increase other than having a few extra people that are loyal to the president, right? And if we look back at during the colonial times, the appointment of those extra seats in parliament actually were used is deeply, I would say it was deeply rooted in colonial practice, right? Under the British rule, where you nominate seats for control. It was used to co-opt loyal elites, right? Managerize the decent who were Zambian citizens and create this illusion of inclusion, right? Now, post-independence, right? Zambia gains independence, retain the government system. So we rebrand this as a mechanism for expertise and representation. So those 8 nominated after post-independence government were rebranded as those 8 are there because of expertise and representation. So now when we say even the same 8 that we previously had, we say, oh no, just 2 or 3 does not really have an impact. The Zambian government under the Hichilema administration needed to give a clear reason why was the current number in parliament failing to deliver, because he needed 3 extra seats. Is there any law or any work that he failed to do, any of his promises he failed to achieve, because he really needed those 3? Like, there was no proper justification. And if you say that okay, we needed an extra 3 because it was an issue of expertise, you can simply hire consultants for that type of work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't need to change the dynamics of parliament like that. Because in conclusion, what I would say is that the only reason or justification of the increase of MPs, the only thing that it saved was the interests of the president, because obviously these people will be loyal to the appointing authority.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. And moreover, what I would just say is that nominated MPs are not accountable to the electorate, right? They do not represent a constituency. They face no electoral test and owe their position entirely to presidential favor, right? And we've seen historically that such appointments have been used to reward political loyalty, right? Or co-opt rivals, or consolidate executive control. That is why you see most of those positions are maybe a business partner that an ex-president previously worked with, someone who previously funded your campaign, someone's, you know, that kind of thing. So I would say that ultimately, the change in the constitution needed to be justifiable. I wish that there was a demonstrable need. And what I would say is that there was no compelling rationale, it was no credible plan to improve representation. I believe that it was just a tactic, basically a political maneuver disguised as reform, just to weaken the democracy, basically. And also it also sidelines voters and also undermines the very democratic principles that they claim to uphold. So the Constitution is a living document, and I believe that should actually be responsible to people's needs and should be rooted in legal necessity and anchored on democratic ideas, not because the president just feels that he needs 3 extra people with no real reason of if those 3 extra people are appointed, are we going to have more electricity? You know, something like that.
I like that. You see, do you know, one of the interesting things is that, number one, I looked at some of they are sheets, they are the provinces, or there is information there which is indicating how these constituencies, the delimitation will be done, right? I saw something like that. The reason I'm raising this point is that shouldn't we as a people get to that point when something we're speculating is not there? We say, oh, we were accusing these people of, because it was strongly believed that a number of constituencies to be increased was meant to be done in where UPND are strongholds. You all agree with that, right? But you've seen the number of the increase that has been done in Lusaka, the increase that has been done in Eastern Province, the increase that has been, literally, I think every province or constituency has had a change. I'm raising this point, Nkhoma, to the point that we were all fearful that the delimitation was only going to happen in southern, northwestern, and western provinces. All of us were thinking like that. Let's admit.
No, serve me, Reverend.
Let's all admit that.
No, serve me on that. I would not agree on that. Serve me. I will say serve me on that, because the dynamics that have been played are already what some of us we know.
Okay.
That still, when you look at the delimitation, that's why I said at a certain point it will haunt back, because when you look at the delimitation that has taken place, let me give you an example. Eastern Province. When you look at Eastern Province right now, almost all the MPs that are currently serving in the Eastern Province, almost all, save Mutolo Piri, who came in, and the deputy, I think the deputy speaker. These are the two that were not on the Patriotic Front ticket. The rest of the MPs in the Eastern Province were on the Patriotic Front ticket. Who have all of them, and I mean collectively, all of them are with Chabinga, and they have decamped. Then,
so wait. So how is that a UPND problem?
I'm putting it. It's a program, not a problem. Program. Chabinga, it should be agreed that Chabinga is a project. He is a UPND project. So when you look at adoptions that are coming in, all the MPs in the Eastern Province, and again, I don't have to be a prophet. Again, Eastern Province coming 2026, August 13th or August 12th, whichever date we are voting, I haven't checked exactly. Eastern
13th,
Province, I believe. Eastern Province, for a first time in the history, it's gonna go red for a first time.
Don't you think Zambian politics just sort of play this trick of where historically it repeats itself? You know why I say that? Do you remember what happened with MMD? You remember Kapale? Do you remember it was only Eastern Province that didn't vote MMD? Then the second term, the whole Eastern Province, the same example I gave with Trump, Kapale. about what he's doing with Texas and other places to consolidate the Republican Congress. My politics, you have to be.
Kamini, that is where I am coming to. So you are going to see to it that Eastern Province, Muchinga, for the first time, Eastern Province, Muchinga. I don't want to touch all these other provinces. Central Province. These three provinces, which were not 100% UPND strongholds, for a first time, they will become a powerhouse. Now, remember that Western Province is not going to move. Southern Province is not going to move. Northwest is not going to move. Now, I said to my friends in the UPND, and I said it, I said, look, Bill 7, come 2026, with the division that the opposition have, I said, are you seeing what it's going to do to you guys? It's going to give you all these MPs, and let's say you have 30 or 25 or 40 against 200 and something MPs that we are talking about. 200 and something for UPND and 40, you are the opposition. Is that the democracy of multipartyism you want to achieve?
How will that happen? I've been told this president is not popular.
Win my elections if we don't have a popular.
Me have been told the church kuya bebele. How is that going to happen?
Win my elections, take popular. We shiva if you could tear on the ground.
Exactly. You see why Kapale, why I keep giving the example of Trump, what Trump is doing. That's why I keep giving. Okay, time is over. I will admit this. Everybody watching and those who are going to watch this recorded show, I apologize. We haven't done justice to Bill 7. But before we go, I want the three of you to respond to this comment here from Derek. I'm curious to know whether your panel identifies any strengths or benefits in Bill 7. That's our final point for discussion. What do you identify?
So I'll go first. Actually, I'm a direct person, right? In my language, in just a straight, boom, you say, hey, you need a lawyer, but I just go straight. There's nothing that is beneficial to Zambia in that bill. That bill benefits the UPND and its leader. It's about cementing power. And if you talk about delimitation, this is what he wanted us to be talking about. Delimitation and the infusion of the youths in parliament, because that is something that is shiny. Because if you are like an opposition, how are you going to oppose someone who says we need more youths or we need disabled people? He gives you that, right? But even then, that gives him more power to appoint those people. So basically, he becomes Alpha and Omega. And if delimitation was fair, why rush it? Because democracy is not afraid of time. Why bring it now? So I agree with what the doctor said here, that the UPND's attempt is to have more members of parliament, and essentially, I don't know if you know it or not. Right now, we're not debating it, so it's an act. But if you look around you, if you don't realize that you are in 1973 Zambia, then you'll find out in the coming weeks and months that you're 1973 Zambia. Because what happens if he has all those members of parliament?
Explain 1973 Zambia.
So first of all, to explain that quickly, 1974, we're given the Westminster Constitution. 1966 is amended. basically creating Kaunda the first executive president. So he's in charge of everything. He's powerful. A lot of people were destroyed. And he moves on to banish all opposition, right? There was Kapwepwe. There was Harry Nkhoma, who was complaining bitterly. What the Patriotic Front are going through, Kapwepwe went through, Harry Nkhoma goes through. Now, as though that is not enough, because that time there will be people also talking like the way the doctor is talking, like the way I'm talking, like the way Miss Mzet is talking. So he doesn't want any of that noise to him. So what does he do? He talks to Mwanza Chona, a man from the south, and then he drafted the Mwanza Chona constitution that made Zambia a one-party participatory democracy. Yes, and this is where we are now. You are in 1973 1973 Zambia, where in that time you couldn't do anything. A lot of people died trying to fight Kaunda, to try to fight for multi-party. A lot of people. There's Christian Temple. There's a lot of people. It even gave the birth of Adamson Mushala, right? So where we are now.
Yeah, here's another point. This, what they have done with Bill 7 has worked in Rwanda. How do you respond to that?
As a matter of fact, when Mr. Hakainde won the presidency, he visited South Africa, and a few months later, he visited Rwanda. And I was kind of scared, like why Rwanda is kind of like a strange place. And he actually went to the graveyards, okay?
Graveyards of who?
The graveyards of the people who died in Rwanda. And then he wrote a message there. So I got scared. He's like, what happens? Because why is there, as a new president, you go look at the graveyards, right? Because he knew that he was going to rule the country with the model of Rwanda, where a minority president rules the majority. That requires somebody who a little bit has some like ruthlessness in him, right? So right now,
as long as the minority,
they are minority. Because what happens is all other tribes, right? Like for example, the West, the Bemba people and the Ngoni people, and they all come to Lusaka, right? So basically, if you notice in Zambia, I'm trying not to be tribal, but there's only one tribe that complains of tribalism, right? So they actually claim the minority card. They try to use the minority card. And to tell you the truth, if you don't bring in, Pastor, if you don't bring in Eastern Province and you don't bring in Copper Belt Province, he cannot win the president.
Of course, we know. Not just, it's Lusaka and the Copper Belt. You cannot win. Okay, but
let me finish the point, though. Let me finish the point.
We run out of time. Yes.
Actually, I would like to end by speaking to the Patriotic Front. They are more of it. They are actually the most disappointing people because they have failed to provide an opposition to this man. It's kind of like they've been playing with this man for about 16 years in the opposition. And then when you're playing with people, now they got a number. So these people, they can't pose any opposition to him. He just picks them up like at will. We have no opposition basically because of the selfishness of the Patriotic Front. The Patriotic Front should realize that this gentleman here knows how they operate. And then right now, if you ask me, who owns the Patriotic Front? The Patriotic Front is owned on paper by Robert Chavinga. But who gave Robert Chavinga and Mao Sampa protection to be able to carry out the convention, right? And to be able to register it and transfer the party. Today, if Chavinga misbehaved against Mr. Hakainde, he can simply get rid of that person and put in another one. Who owns the Patriotic Front? That's the question that the Patriotic Front members of parliament should have at the back of their minds, because it's actually cemented. My point was cemented when we were actually banking on the members of parliament from the Patriotic Front. From the news, I thought these people can stop the Bill 7. I was shocked when 35 of them voted for this bill. Basically, there is count. These are UPND, right? So basically where you are right now, you have no opposition. You have the UPND, similar to what you had in 1973 in UNIT. Now you have UPND. Unless you understand that, you don't have a chance. I thank you.
Okay. Mr. Nkhoma, I'm curious. Derek says, I'm curious to know whether your panel identifies any strengths or benefits in Bill 7.
You, you know, Reverend, I try for granted now. I think the first thing
Vadaka Valin Sokati, Venatavaka hold back. I told him that's what this platform is about. Here we let you be you. Here we let you be you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
I wish to comment my Daka that I think Mr. Daka Wereni, come and join politics. I think you have the right tone. You can add weight to the country.
You see the way Msezet is looking at you is like these men.
Now, nevertheless, the question is, I'm curious to know whether your panel identifies any strength or benefits. Yes, we do. Personally, I want to say yes, I do see the benefits. And here are the benefits. Number one benefit is that we will increase the number of members of parliament or public representatives in parliament who will drive VXs and GXs and latest vehicles on the government treasury. That's benefit number one.
Benefit, yeah.
Number two, we will also, I appreciate the benefit that there will be major cadre deployment and partisan politics will be the norm of the day, because the increase of those that will be appointed, the youths, the women, the disabled, that will be appointed simply when they are in parliament, they will not be there to hold the government or the executive accountable, because they cannot bite the thumb or the finger that feeds them. Lastly, on the benefits are there that the executive powers shall be increased. Why? Because the president, when he is voted in with a majority, that simply means the shall also increase. Those are the benefits. The last benefit is that we need to realize that advancing such bills, they may look small, but this bill will not just shake the nation today, but it will continue to vibrate the nation of Zambia until a time we realize to say we need to cause reforms or change the way we govern ourselves. I thank you.
All right. So you're basically saying this bill benefits those who are UPND supporters. That's what you're basically saying.
No, benefits. I didn't say so.
No. Okay. Mzezeti, Mr. Chiviru's comment there. What strengths do you identify or benefits in Bill 7?
So what I would say is that when I look at, I totally understand why Derek is asking this question, because, you know, issues of the electoral cycle, they are very technical. And the team that actually drafted this was very smart, because they have an understanding that these issues are technical and most Zambians won't easily understand if we sneak in clauses that look like they are beneficial. So what I would say is that delimitation itself is not a bad thing, right? When population grows, you know, societies are changing, and definitely countries need to carry out delimitation after you carry out a census, right? And do we want more young people in parliament, persons with disabilities and youth? Definitely, right? So we can see that as an advantage. But with that being said, I would say it's less about the advantages of delimitation and inclusion and more about introducing them at the wrong time. It was the timing. You cannot change the rules of the game when the game has already started. For you men others who understand soccer, right? It's unfair.
Yeah.
We're in an active electoral cycle. And, changing constituency and boundaries after voter registration is basically done. Like I said, it's changing the rules of the game in the middle of the game. People have already registered. Parties have already planned their campaigns, and suddenly the map is different. So I know you talked about, there was a previous discussion about, most people thought that the areas that will be delimited will be those that are UPND strongholds.
Strongholds, yeah.
So I think that we are focusing on the wrong argument. It shouldn't be about the where is the delimitation. It's about the when. Because delimitation in itself is not a bad thing, but it's when. You can't introduce delimitation after voter registration. This is what is called gerrymandering. It is a common rigging tactic. So now authoritarian regimes are no longer rigging elections at the ballot. It's so obvious, right? And it's quite difficult. You'll be caught because now we have several election monitoring bodies that can easily get onto this. So what do? You rig the system way before election day. On election day, it's just playing out. You've already rigged the system a year before the election, right? Now, for me, what I would say is that people have already registered to vote. Parties have already planned their campaigns, right? Then suddenly the map is different. So we shouldn't focus about, they didn't demarcate only areas in the UPND stronghold. It's about when they decided to carry out the delimitation. After voter registration, that's not how you carry out that delimitation in an electoral cycle. That is what is called gerrymandering. So in practice, this gives an advantage to whoever is controlling the electoral process, right? It's a bit like moving the goalpost right before the match starts. And we can already see that it's tilting the playing field before even the election begins. And now, when you start redrawing these boundary lines, controlling the timing, tweaking the rules in the middle of the game, that outcome only favors the people that are in charge, right? And the ones that are in charge is the Election Commission of Zambia. The commission is appointed by the sitting president. So is that fair, right? So even if now that it is legal because now Bill 7 is law, the perception alone seriously undermines the trust in the electoral process and has already weakened democracy. So answering Derek's question, yes, we need more young people into parliament, persons with disabilities. And I understand why people feel that anyone that isn't looking at the advantages, they are just maybe pro, you would want to call people that would analyze this as pro opposition, or they are just against the government. Like I said, delimitation is good, getting more women is good. It's about when it was introduced. You can't change the electoral system 7 months before an election, because even when you look at the current electoral system that we have, the first past the post, we still have people that don't understand first past the post. Now we've got a mixed member electoral system, right? We've got the first past the post with the PR. People don't even know how they will cast a second vote on PR. Already that is voter confusion, right? It's also a political rigging tactic, because voters are, people don't even know. People are crying, Bill 7, dancing, celebrating. They don't even know how to cast a PR vote. You can't change the electoral system without voter education. What needed to happen? We needed an order, right? Limitation, we have no problem with it. Proportional representation, it's a good thing, but you need to ensure that it's when it is introduced. You can't introduce it too close to election day. Secondly, you can't introduce PR without proper protection mechanisms. You can't just introduce it so loosely and carelessly. For instance, first past the post, in which we just go the previous way that we voted. Now we have PR. The way you vote in the PR system is different from the way we previously voted, and people need to understand this, because people will not vote for a person. Basically, they'll vote for a politician, and all that is converted into, they'll come up with all this threshold, and ECZ will make all those divisions according to the party lists, right? Now, citizens don't even understand how that will happen. And the question is, who will be given the power to come up with the threshold in the PR system? It is ECZ now. When you look at ECZ, who appoints that commission? It is the president. You can already see that citizens don't have some sort of protection mechanism against ECZ. We really can't hold ECZ accountable for any manipulation that they do or carry out in favor of the sitting, in favor of the sitting president at that time. So I know that there's this comparison like, oh, it has worked in other countries. But one thing you need to understand, probably in those countries, there was protection mechanisms. For the particular one that we have, ECZ has been given too much discretion. And the fact that the lists, we are having like a closed PR list, believe me, in the next coming weeks, the young people, unfortunately, who are celebrating and dancing at Mugushi will now be crying that just go on that closed list. People are asking for sexual favors. The list is closed. There's more that people don't understand. And it's so unfortunate that young people were manipulated. They were celebrating. They didn't know what this entails. Because now, those people that will be selected on the PR list, they owe their loyalty to the party. So you will find things like, it's very unfortunate. I shouldn't even be saying this, but I have to say it because people need to see how serious this is. There's a lot of sexual harassment of young women in political parties, even men, unfortunately. Now, that could even increase, because just for you to get to that PR list, you would obviously have to impress the SG or something. And for young women, people with disabilities, people think that it's just going to be a walkover. They will select us. Now, what is going to happen that within the political party, there will be internal conflicts. There will be those young people within the political party that are well off better than others that are willing to sacrifice their morals to get on the party list. So all those issues come into to play. And we should just
we need to. I'm glad you've mentioned some of the things that you have mentioned, Mzezeti. We can do a conversation on that by itself, and you and I will get together and let's put together a panel where we can discuss the issues that you have raised on the implementation of Bill 7. Thank you for taking the time.
One second, Pastor. One second. Very important. I actually want to do a shout out to Derek Chibilu. That's the guy who welcomed me when I first came to the United States in Delaware, and I stayed in his house. So just a shout out.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's good. Derek is a gentleman and a half. All right. Thank you, Kapale, for that. Zazeti, thanks for taking the time. Kapale, I appreciate you. You and I exchange a lot of notes on this. And Dr. Nkhoma, my brother, it's been long overdue. Overdue. We need to do this again, and we shall. I know we talked about a lot of things. This was the first show in the new year. We just wanted to run through some. We haven't even touched a lot of things, Kapale, right? That was
but it's okay. We have more shows.
But it's fine. We've done this. I greatly appreciate you all for taking the time to do this. Remember, I think next weekend on Wednesday we might have a show. We will just take our social media platforms, ZBTR TV. Now, something else I need to say here before we go. This show was, let me do this, right? You all can see that name behind me. It used to be called Zambia Block. It used to be called Zambia Block Talk Radio, okay? Then we added Zambia Block Talk Radio TV because, you know, things happened with time. COVID just turned the world upside down. Everything became virtual. So beginning 1st January 2026, we are officially going to be referred to as ZBTR TV, all right? There's no more radio component. ZBTR TV.
TV. Okay.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you. We shall see you in the middle of the week. Check our social media platforms. We'll be making. We are not going to be restricted to Saturday. We may do a show on Wednesday. We may do a show on Tuesday. This is election year, and it gets very busy in election year. All right. So don't get tired of me coming to you, Nkhoma, Kapale, ZZT. I'll be calling on you guys to do a lot of stuff. Thanks everybody for your participation and your involvement.
Thank you.
And have a great weekend.
Welcome to VibeForge AI Studios, where creativity meets innovation for artists, businesses, and ministries everywhere. We craft high-quality media fused with AI magic. Fast, affordable, and professional. From ad campaigns to event promos and music videos, our AI tools bring your vision to life. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, content creator, or ministry, VibeForge is built for you. Our work is driven by faith, innovation, excellence, and integrity, always.
See our portfolio on YouTube at The Christian Blogger and imagine what we can create for you. Let's build something extraordinary together today. Call, WhatsApp, email, or visit our website.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.